You already know how to talk. You've known since you were 2. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Nobody taught the first human to talk. There was no teacher, no school, no language to learn language with. So how did it start? By the end of this, you'll understand something that will permanently change how you think about every word coming out of your mouth right now. 50,000 years ago, maybe more, a group of humans is sitting around a fire. They're not that different from you. Same brain, same throat, same lungs. But they're not talking. They're making sounds. Grunts, clicks, pointing. That's it. And then something happens. Slowly, almost invisibly. Over thousands of years, those sounds start to mean something. Not because someone decided they should. Because the humans who made better sounds survived longer. Think about that. Language wasn't invented. It was selected for. Like longer legs or sharper eyes. Talking better meant living longer. But here's where it gets strange. The very first words humans ever said weren't about ideas. Weren't about feelings. Weren't about plans. They were about danger. Snake. Fire. Run. Survival words. That's it. And yet somehow, from those 3 words, you got Shakespeare. You got philosophy. You got every love letter ever written. How does that happen? Go back even further. Before words. Before humans, even. Our closest relatives, chimpanzees, they communicate too. 38 distinct sounds. Facial expressions. Gestures. But they hit a wall. A hard biological wall. Their throats are built wrong. Their vocal tracts sit too high. They literally cannot make the sounds humans make. Around 100,000 years ago, something shifted in us. Our larynx dropped. One small change in anatomy. Just a few centimeters lower in the throat. That's it. That's what separated you from an animal that couldn't talk. But here's what's wild. That same anatomical shift that lets you speak, it also means you can choke on food. Chimps can breathe and swallow at the same time. You can't. Language literally made humans more vulnerable to dying at dinner. Evolution traded your safety for your voice, and it decided the voice was worth it. Now there's a bone in your skull, tiny, U-shaped, called the hyoid bone. It's the only bone in your body that doesn't connect to any other bone. It just floats there in your throat, anchoring your tongue muscles. Here's why this matters. Scientists found a Neanderthal hyoid bone that looks almost identical to yours. Almost identical, which means Neanderthals, a completely different species, may have been capable of speech too. They went extinct anyway, which raises the question nobody can fully answer yet. Did they talk? And if they did, what did they say in the end? Now here's where your brain should be lighting up. Because everything you just heard, it's the setup for something much stranger. The mystery isn't how humans physically learned to make sounds. The mystery is how sounds became meaning. How did the first human decide that a particular noise meant danger? There are 2 schools of thought on this, and they've been fighting for over a century. The first camp says language was arbitrary, random. One human made a sound, others copied it, and gradually it stuck. The second camp says no, early words were iconic. They sounded like what they meant. Crackle, hiss, boom, crash. These words sound like the things they describe. That's not a coincidence. There's a researcher named Wolfgang Kohler who did something simple in the 1920s that broke linguists' brains. He showed people 2 shapes. One jagged and sharp, one round and smooth. He asked, which one is a kiki? Which one is a booba? 98% of people, across different languages, different cultures, same answer every time. Kiki is the jagged one. Booba is the round one. Even though those aren't real words, your brain wires sound to meaning automatically, without being taught, which means the seed of language. It was already in you, before anyone said a word. But here's something even stranger about that experiment. They ran it on people who had never met each other. Different continents. Totally isolated communities. Same result. That's not cultural. That's not learned. That's something baked into the hardware of being human. Your brain came preloaded with the ability to turn sound into sense. You didn't develop that skill. You were born with it. And the ancient humans sitting around that fire? They had the exact same brain you do. Same instincts. Same pattern matching. Same wiring. They weren't primitive. They were you, without the words yet. But knowing a sound makes meaning isn't enough. You have to be able to share that meaning. And this is where the accidental part comes in. Language didn't spread because humans sat down and agreed on it. Language spread the same way every virus spreads. Contact, repetition, copying. One group hears another group making a useful sound. They absorb it, adapt it, pass it on. And here's the piece that makes the whole picture click into place. Children. Every language alive today was kept alive by children, not adults, not scholars. Children. When two groups mix, new language, old language, it's the kids who merge them, simplify them, create something neither parent group ever spoke. Linguists call this phenomenon a creole, a brand new language born out of contact between two old ones. It has happened hundreds of times in recorded history. And here's what's remarkable about Creole languages. They aren't messy hybrids. They aren't broken versions of something better. They're clean, structured, fully formed grammars, built by kids, in one generation, from nothing. Children don't just absorb language. They construct it, which means language isn't just alive. It's constantly being reborn, by kids, in playgrounds, making words up right now. That thing you call internet slang? That's not the corruption of language. That is language, doing exactly what it's always done, evolving, adapting, surviving. There's a word that appeared online less than 15 years ago, ghosting. Cutting someone off without explanation. That word didn't exist. Now it's in the dictionary. A new human experience needed a name, and language did what it always does. It grew to fit the world. It always has. It always will. And now think about this. The language you speak, your specific language, the one happening in your head right now as you watch this. It doesn't exist anywhere in the physical world. It's not in a book, not on a server, not in a building. It exists in a network of human brains, alive only because people keep using it. The moment everyone who speaks a language dies, the language dies too. Languages go extinct like species. One every 2 weeks, on average. Right now. And when a language dies, something else dies with it. Because every language carves up reality differently. Describes things other languages don't have words for. The Germans have a word. Waldensanket. The feeling of peaceful solitude in a forest. The Japanese have mono no aware. The bittersweet awareness that all things are temporary. English doesn't have clean words for either of those feelings. But you felt them. When a language disappears, that precise way of cutting up human experience disappears too. Gone. Forever. And here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Researchers estimate that of the roughly 7,000 languages alive today, half will be gone by the end of this century. Not in some distant future. In the lifetime of people already born. Think about what gets lost. Not just words. Entire ways of seeing time. Ways of describing relationships. Ways of understanding the natural world built up over thousands of years of close observation. Some indigenous languages have dozens of words for types of snow, or specific winds, or stages of a plant's life. Not because the people were obsessed with snow or wind or plants, because they were paying attention in a way our language never trained us to. When those languages die, that attention dies too. So here's the thing you didn't know when you clicked on this. Every word you say is the product of millions of accidents, biological mutations, chance encounters between ancient peoples, children mixing things up, sounds that somehow felt right. You didn't choose the language in your head. It chose you. It was passed through generations like a flame, person to person, child to child, across tens of thousands of years, just to arrive here, in your mouth, right now. And the most profound part of all of this? You are not a person who has language. You are a person language is passing through. If this just rewired something in your head, wait until you understand how language shapes what you're actually able to think. Because it turns out the words you have access to set the hard limits on the thoughts you're capable of having. And that changes everything about what it means to be free.